this PS icon is for Photoshop. You click on that, and this brings you to the Photoshop basic interface. Right now there are no files open here, but it has a menu bar just like any other softwares would have, like file, edit, image, and stuff like that. On the left here is there are toolbars, and I think I have a handout which explains each tool and what its functions are. And on the right, there are these panels. We're not going to work with all the panels today because it's a little bit advanced, but we're just going to work with layers, which is here, and history, which you go on in Windows and you find all the panels. So it's history here. Now let's open a new document. So you go to File, New. You're going to stay with 8.5 by 11. For print, you need to have 300 at least, maybe from 250 to 300 resolution, because if you're going to print it, the image and the text and everything needs to be a little bit more crisp, and it should not blur out. So, and usually for web, they end up using 72 resolution. So this is good. Okay. Now, to begin with, on the left-hand side of the toolbar, the first one is the Move tool. It helps you move around images, layers, any object on the document to wherever you want to. The name says it. And the second one is the rectangular marquee tool. That helps you drag and select. You just drag and select something, or just make a square, and if you want to fill it, you can just fill in a color or something, and then that stays. And to deselect it, it's Command D. So the next on the list is, and some of these are little advanced tools which we wouldn't go in right now because it's just going to get a little too confusing. This one here is a crop tool. You can use that, like say, to crop the size of your entire canvas if you want. And then you just press enter and it crops it to that size. The next one is the eyedropper tool. I'm sorry. Next one is the eyedropper tool. Now, what does that do is, if you have an image or anything and you want to select a particular color from within that image, you can just go to the eyedropper tool and say select that color. Right now we just don't have any, but and then you can just fill either the background or something with that image. And we'll do that further when we do the one pager. So this is just a brief introduction to, yeah. The next tool we'll talk about is the clone, the stamp tool. What that does is, if you have this image and it has this like some weird thing in the background which you don't want, let's like say the exit sign or something like that, and you know it's this beautiful image, you want to use that, but then that something is bothering, you can just clone out that part and just continue the background and just delete that thing. And then there's the text tool, obviously to help you type whatever. And then down here is the what is that? The color picker tool. You can pick any color you want, and like how Allison mentioned, you have the specific color codes. You can just type those out in here, CMYK or RGB, whatever the style guide suggests, and you can just type them here. Okay. And we just move on to the layers panel. Now, by default, it just opens with one layer. This is the layers panel, and it has the background. And you see the little lock sign here, means it's locked. It's not going to move anywhere. Like this, you cannot really move it. It just stays there. But now, so you always want to work in different layers. So what layers helps you do is edit a particular, if you have like an image and you have text over it and you have another smaller image over it, and you want, if everything is in one layer, you will not be able to say just edit out the text or edit out that little square on that image. So for different layers, you can just keep switching back and forth and edit them. Yeah. So now we'll move on to making a one pager, and that will talk about the tools and layers a little bit in detail. So for that we do like file, new, again 8.5 by 11 because it's like the size, usually the US letter size.
Change to a different size. There's the preset sizes under where it says custom version above.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can select any size.
Yeah. So US paper or legal, tabloid, anything. for now we'll stick with 8.5 by 11. You open the document and just a minute.
And we already saved all of our images, what we're going to be using onto the desktop. So you might have a specific folder that you're keeping everything in to stay more organized. We just kept it all, we have it already on the folder.
Yeah. So now this is my original image, and you don't really want to do anything to your original image because you want to save that just in case you need to use it somewhere else in another and give it another effect or anything. So you just drag that image onto your file. Sorry. Oh yeah, or you can open it. Open image. So this opens in another file on its own, and you just take it and just drag it like that, and then that comes on your main document. Now you want to resize that. To resize it, you go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and then there are different options if you want to rotate it or skew it. If you just want to flip it, sometimes there's too much space on this side and you don't need that, and you just need to flip the image or anything like that. So we can scale it.
So she selected her layer before she did that.
Yeah.
So it's editing just that specific image.
And then, so if you want, when you are scaling it, you just don't want to pull and drag because that distorts the image. So, sorry, to do that, go to transform scale, press shift, always press shift, and then, so it increases, it size in proportions basically. A little bit larger maybe. And then you just press enter, and then you get the size you want. You always want to name your layers because this is a smaller document. We have few layers. It's fine. You can find what you want. But if you end up doing a document which is like it has like 15 images and it has text for each image or something like that, and then it's too confusing to go and find every layer. So it's better to name them, and that way it's easier to just locate it whenever you want to make the changes or anything. So you just double click on the layer. Sorry, not there. Yeah, double click, and then you can just type in, like say, build image. Okay. Now, this image looks a little dark, so we want to adjust the tone and the brightness and everything. So for that, you stay on the layer. This is highlighted. When it's not highlighted, something else is highlighted. Like right now, the background layer is highlighted. But if you want to work on the image, you highlight the image layer, and then you go on Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. And then this is basically, you just have to eyeball it and see, because every image is taken differently in different locations, so you don't know how much. It's not no set rules that the brightness has to be like 30 or whatever. You can just see what looks good at that point with that image. I think this looks okay. And here in the image menu up and adjustments, there are a bunch of different things you can change. Like say you can change the hue and saturation. You want it to look more pink or blue or something. And then you change the saturation a little bit. Looks good, I guess. Okay. You can also, like say sometimes you see images are black and white, and all the text is in color. You can do that even here. Same image, adjustments, just click black and white. And then you can change, or you can go on the tint thing and then make it into different tints, so that changes. You can also, like if you want one colored photo and then you just want to try different things and see how it's going to work in your layout, you can duplicate this layer. To duplicate it, you see this little arrow like thing here. You just press that, and then the second option is duplicate layer. And then what does that do is you have two layers of the same thing, and then you can go on the second one, change to whatever settings you want, and see. And if it doesn't work out, you always have your original image to keep it. So that's that. We don't need to duplicate that one. Next, we're gonna get the logo in. So you again go File, Open, where you've saved the logo in, hopefully in the same folder, so where everything is, and you hit the logo. Now this logo is a pink file, that is, it is a transparent background. You want to have that for your organization. You always want to have different files, which is like with a transparent background, with white background or whatever, because if you just send out a JPEG file, this logo is pretty simple. You can like just delete the white background and use it, but sometimes the logo is like too intricate, or it has thin lines, and then it doesn't always work if you just try to delete the white background. So in the same manner, we got the image. You just click and drag the logo right in your document and say place it here maybe for now. Don't forget to rename your layer, so you just name it as logo, so you know if you don't need it at any point, you can just, this, like here you see the little eye thing, it's basically you open the eye to see it and then you close the eye to not see it. So it's that. For now, I think I'll leave the logo as is, and then once we do the layout a little bit, maybe we can resize it again, go to image, edit, transform, and resize the way we did the image. Next, we can get another element to put on our document, that is the little cross sign. Now this is a good example because it is not with a transparent background, it is a white background. And if we get this here, and what I want to do is I want to place it right in between, like I have a sample here. I want to overlap it with the image, and right now with the white background, you cannot really do that. So I have to delete the white background. How do I do that? You keep the layer selected. I'm going to rename that to red cross. Okay. Oops, sorry. And we go to our tools menu. Just a minute. Where did it? Yeah. Sorry, the fourth tool here, and all the tool menus have some of them have the little arrow like thing in the side, if you can see, and if you just keep pressing on it, you have like further options to it. So we are going to select the magic wand tool. What that does is it selects similar colors like on that particular layer. So if I want to select the white and just delete it, I just click on where the white is and it selects all the white on that layer, and you can just press delete. And then you go back to the move tool, that's the first one, and then you deselect, Command D, and then the move tool just helps you move around. And this is too big, so we're going to scale it down. So you go to Edit, Transform, Scale. And then again press Shift, because without Shift it's not going to look like a cross anymore. So press Shift, and then bring it down to the size you want. And then place it right there. We tried to create this just keeping in mind their style guide, like they want more of white in their documents, whatever they print. So we're just trying to mimic that a little bit. So this is how it helps, because we saw the style guide before, and now I know even if I want to do crazy things, I cannot, because I have to stick by their rules. So every time anyone designs anything for them, it's pretty much consistent, and it looks the same. Next, we'll get some text, like some heading. So you go to the text tool. By default, when you click the text tool and you click on the document, the text tool always makes a new layer for you. So you don't have to worry about adding a new layer, it just makes a new layer. And you type, say, red cross, and here. And then you can click and drag to go back to change the fonts and everything. And on top here, there is options tool, so options bar, which will help you for this particular text tool. You have like different types of fonts you can select, and let's see, we have to stick by their style guide, so we're going to choose the fonts they use, that's Georgia. So I'm going to, and then probably want it bold because it's going to be like a heading. And let's say 24, maybe a little bigger, 30 point size. And now we also want to change the color. So change the color, either you go up here, double click, and then you want to put in the color they have suggested in their style guide, and I think this was 70%. So you just type it. So CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So we just need gray, which we have to enter in the amount in the K one. So you just go 0, 0, I'm sorry, 0, 0, and the K that is black, you need to put 70, and then you hit OK. So it picked up that color, and now you go back to the move tool, and then you see thing that we've written. But now if you want to make it a successful one pager and make, obviously if you want people to read it and this is not legible, so maybe what we can do is create a new layer, which is either you go down, go down here and you create a new one, or you go up to the layers menu, layer, new, layer, and then you just need a white box because we're going to put a white box below. Now you choose the rectangle marquee tool. And you make a rectangle. See, if you press square at shift at this point, it's going to make a square, and you don't want a square, so you don't press shift. You just drag and pull and see how long and wide you want the box to be, and then you want to fill it with white. So either you go back to the color picker, choose a white, or let's make it like real white. Okay, and now you have white selected there, and at this point you go to the paint bucket, which you see it's like literally a bucket, and you hit that, and you just click on the rectangle that you've created, and it makes a white box. You go back to the move tool, the first one, deselect, command D. Now this is where, when we were talking about layers, that everything is stacked up one on top of the other. Because this layer is on top of the text layer, we cannot see it, right? So we want to drag and bring it below the text layer. So you hold the layer, click, and just bring it down, and you see that little bar-like thing happening? Just leave it there. So the white box comes below the text. And now you just want to center the text, so you can just press arrow keys. You go on the layer and just press arrow keys and adjust it the way you want it to adjust. Now going back to the white box, we don't want the white box covering the face or any good design or photo or something. So we can reduce the opacity a little bit and make it a little transparent. So that you see up here, you see opacity, and it's 100%, so it's opaque. So you can just change it to say maybe 70. That looks good, I guess. And then enter. So that changes the opacity, and you can change the opacity of anything, even of the image. So you click on the image layer. Ooh, sorry. You click on the image layer, and then you can also change the opacity of the image if you want to. So that works like that. Now we want to move the white square rectangle and the text to up somewhere here. Now, if we move one thing at a time, it's extra work. You have to go back and take the white square and move that too. So you select both layers together. To do that, you press shift and then just go on the other layer you want to select and just select it. So now 2 layers are selected. And then you can just go up wherever you want. And that's it. And then just click out somewhere, and then the selection goes. Next, we're going to make, instead of one pager, so we have a subheading, that being the heading. We have a subheading and then some text. So let's go back to the type tool. You click on the document, and then you can type, say, get involved. Now you want to change the font of this and the color. So you again you see the blinker there, and you just click and drag back, so it's the whole thing is selected. If you don't select you cannot change the type or the color for it. So you go back. We're going to choose another font that they have suggested in their style guide. Arial. And since this is, and Allison later is going to talk more about hierarchy and stuff like that, but right now you don't want everything to be like big and, fighting for attention. So this is a subheading. It should be smaller than the main heading. So we're going to change the font here, maybe 18. Okay. You can also type in, because by default, they just give you like 14, 18, 24. But if you want something in between, you can just type. So you select, drag, and then you can type what you want. Say I want 22. That's that. And then again, to change the color, you go back here, you click, and I don't remember what your blue was. So I'm just going to take a blue, just pick something. But if you have the style guide in front of you, you know exactly what to type in. Maybe we could put this blue. Okay. And just leave it. So that's the subheading. Now we need text. So again, type to, click, drag, and then it makes because it's more text, so you want to give it this much space for text, so you just make a text box, and then you just type something. Command C to copy. That's, everyone knows that, I think, from Word. Command V. Okay, and then I want to change the font and everything because it's text copy and it cannot be this big. So Command A. So you select all the text in there. We stick with Arial. We go to regular. And for copy, you don't usually go above 10, or maybe 11 is like too much. Let's say 10 points. And then I'm going to change the color to black. Just going to increase this a little bit more. Just adjust. Now, remember when we started and I said we're not going to adjust the logo right now, but now we feel that we need to, it looks too big, two squares, two crosses, and they're fighting for attention. So you want to make the logo a little bit smaller. So you go back to the logo layer. Command T is a shortcut for the edit, transform, scale thing. So you Command T, and then just make it a little smaller. Remember I press Shift so that it reduces in proportion, and then enter. And then with the arrow key, you can just move it to the position you want it to be in. And finally, we'll just add a footer, maybe some address and website or something. So you go back to the type tool, click, and then I'm just going to put and this pretty much stays as is. So you just click OK. It's very simple, very little copy right now, but it depends on what information you have, and accordingly you can change the layout and stuff like that. But we tried to stick to the Red Cross style guide and wanted to mimic their style a little bit, and I think that's the one page.